About 9 months ago, I reviewed the FlexiSpot E7 standing desk. It's still my primary work desk, and I still love it. But even if you have a standing desk, you can still spend several hours per day sitting, making your chair an equally important part of your workspace setup. In this video, we're going to take a look at the FlexiSpot C7 chair to see if it offers the same quality as the E7 desk. Before we dive in, I want to mention that FlexiSpot sent me the C7 chair for the purpose of reviewing it. I was not paid to make this video, and all opinions shared will be my own. I do have an affiliate link in the description for you if you're interested in picking up the C7 chair or anything from FlexiSpot and you'd like to support this channel. FlexiSpot offers a lot more than desks, and some of their office chairs offer great features. The C7 chair here is a premium ergonomic chair in their lineup, but they also offer some more affordable options, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, as well as a couple even more premium options and even gaming chairs. Let's start by touching on the assembly of the C7 chair, and then we'll talk about all of the features, and then I'll talk about some of the pros and cons that I've observed after replacing my old chair with the C7 for the last week. The C7 comes in a single box that is fairly large and weighs a little over 55 pounds. So it's definitely a good idea to have some help when you bring the box inside. All right, so we've got a total of 9 separate pieces here, and I would say in terms of assembly required, there's definitely some work you have to put in to assemble the C7, but nothing excessive. Oh, and of course, there are instructions. The C7 chair includes a 3-part mesh back and 2 seat options, foam and mesh. The back includes a removable and adjustable headrest and adjustable lumbar support. The seat can be adjusted forwards and backwards as well as angled down. There is also an option for a detachable footrest. The lumbar support auto-adjusts to your seated position when unlocked, but you can also lock it into a position if you prefer. The armrests have adjustable height, and the top can be angled and moved forwards and backwards. The tension setting for reclining is adjusted with a handle under the seat. The maximum weight capacity is 300 pounds, and there is one size option. The foam seat dimensions are just slightly larger than the mesh seat dimensions, but they are basically the same size. The back dimensions are 23 inches by 21 inches. The C7 chair is BIFMA certified, and the warranty varies on different parts of the chair, with the shortest warranty being 2 years on the highest wearing parts such as the wheels, and the longest being 10 years on the arms, wheelbase, and headrest. The price of the C7 depends on the options that you select and whether FlexiSpot currently has it discounted. Right now, the price ranges from $290 for the foam seat with gray and black colors, all the way up to $440 for the mesh seat with all black and the optional footrest. However, the list price is considerably higher. Okay, now let's talk about my experience with the C7 and some pros and cons that I've observed. Actually, before we do that, let me just point out where I'm coming from. My current chair for the last 3 years has been the WorkPro 1000 series mesh chair, which is what I would call middle of the road quality, and it doesn't have a dedicated lumbar support like the C7. I've been happy with it, but after about the first year, it started to develop a lot of creaking noises that I could never seem to get rid of. All right, now let's talk about the pros for the C7, starting with the overall quality. I do think it has a more premium feel than my previous chair and other mid-range chairs that I've had. We'll talk specifically about the price to quality ratio in a few minutes, but I want to focus first on the chair itself. The mesh is a nice quality and the seat is not too firm. I definitely recommend a mesh seat to anyone who gets warm sitting in their chair because the air circulation really helps with that, and it's not as stiff as you might think. Overall, the construction feels sturdy and nothing is wobbly or concerning. Another pro here is I think the seat size should work well for a lot of people. I'm not a large person, so sometimes a chair seat can feel actually a little too big for me. This one feels very medium-sized in a good way. A person larger than me could definitely sit in this chair, and the weight rating is up to 300 pounds, so I think it should fit a wide range of people. The number of adjustments is definitely a pro as well. You've got the typical adjustments here, like the height of the seat, the tension for reclining, and then the adjustments for the armrests. But you've also got adjustments to slide the seat forward and back, as well as tilt it downwards if you need to, and also your support lever for the lumbar support. The adjustments are all simple and easy to get used to once you test them out a little bit. So all in all, I'm happy with all of the adjustments. The headrest is also nice. It's got good adjustability. You can remove it if you don't like it. And I appreciate that it's just included. You don't have to pay extra for it. Another pro would be the BIFMA certification. I don't know if you're supposed to say that like an acronym or if you list the letters. But anyway, knowing that it meets the criteria for the strength and stability means you don't have to worry about it tipping over with you in it, which is always good, and something you genuinely have to worry about if you go for one of those really low-cost chairs. Okay, before we talk about cons, I want to talk about the lumbar support for a minute, because this is one of those things that I kind of put this somewhere in the middle. It's like, it's a pro for some people, it could be a con or kind of neutral for other people, because it's very subjective. Every person is different. Whether you need additional back support varies from person to person, so we're going to kind of talk about this between the pros and the cons. Now, there's nothing that I find objectively wrong or bad about the lumbar support here, but my old chair didn't have a dedicated lumbar support like this. So it gave me the opportunity to sort of recognize that if you've never had a chair with a separate or dedicated lumbar support like this can feel like a lot all at once. It definitely takes some getting used to if you're not used to having something pressing on your lower back all day, and it definitely takes some testing out to figure out which position is best for you. Now, the lumbar support can either be locked or unlocked. When it's unlocked, it will move forward and backward with you, and when it's locked, it just stays in the position that you set it to. Now, I personally prefer the locked position because when it was unlocked and I would move forward and backward, it would kind of cause me to have to reposition myself because it would either kind of pull on my shirt or it didn't move to quite the right position for me. And that's specific to me, that's subjective. So some people might love the adjustability there with it unlocked. But for me, once I did test it in multiple positions and found the good position for me, I locked it into place and I found it a lot more comfortable. You may also especially appreciate this type of lumbar support on the C7 if you really like to lean forward or sit forward in your chair, because that can cause you to slouch a little bit. And then you can basically just put the lumbar support in the forward position and lock it in there, and it'll kind of prop you up so that you're sitting more upright, even if you're not leaning on the backrest. So all that being said, not everyone will find dedicated lumbar support like this helpful, necessary, or comfortable. I can't stress enough that everybody is different. I can't tell you whether the support is going to be perfect for your back. If you know that you don't want pronounced lumbar support, then I'd recommend checking out FlexiSpot's other models, like maybe the C3, which has a much more subtle lumbar support, and it's also a little more budget friendly. Now, before we leave this sort of neutral category, I'm also going to mention the assembly here. It's basically not any better or any worse than other chairs or any other furniture that I've assembled myself. There were a couple of bolts for the chair base that were a bit of a tight squeeze that took some extra effort to tighten all the way, but I did not find it better or worse than anything else I've assembled. All right, now let's talk about a couple of cons. There's really not many here, but there are a couple things. The main con that I observed is that for the price range of this chair, I think the wheels honestly should be better. When I was assembling the chair, I did kind of notice the wheels to me seem like a little bit lower quality than the rest of the chair. They work fine, but they feel and sound pretty much like basic wheels you would find on lower cost chairs. I personally think if you pay more than $300 for a chair, especially if you pay the list price of this chair and it's not on sale, I think you should be getting more premium feeling, smooth and quiet wheels. Really, the only other sort of objective con that I see here is that you have to pay extra for the mesh seat. Now, I don't know the difference in the materials and the manufacturing cost of the foam seat and the mesh seat, so it might be justified, but paying an extra $40 to have the mesh seat seems a little odd to me, since FlexiSpot does have some other chairs that are actually a lower price that just include a mesh seat in the base price. See the C3 as an example. And if I was nitpicking here, I could say that the armrests are really nothing special. They don't lock into place, but honestly, I've had a bunch of different chairs that have armrests that don't lock into place, so that's not a deal breaker for me. And they could be a little softer. The padding on these armrests could be a little bit more cushiony, but I feel like that's a little nitpicky because they don't feel low quality or like they're below the quality level that they should be. It's more of a wish list item that I'd like them to be a little bit more cushioned, and be great if you could lock them into place. So overall, those are my observations after a week of using the C7 as my work chair. But I will be doing a 1-month update video on the C7, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see that when I publish it. All right, now let's talk about the price and whether I recommend the C7 chair based on my week of use. I think the list price for the C7 is a bit high for what it is. It's a nice quality chair with a good warranty, but it also doesn't feel like a super premium chair. And the list price, when it's not discounted, is in the super premium territory. To be fair, it does feel nicer quality and it has more features than my old chair, which you can currently buy for around $180 to $200 online right now. So to me, the C7 fits with a price range in the $300 to $350 range without the optional footrest, and you can actually get it for that price on FlexiSpot's website when it's discounted. As of the day that I'm recording this, it's currently discounted, and the discounts come and go on FlexiSpot's website. So where I'm going with this is that I do recommend the C7 chair. I think it's a great option to consider for anyone who is looking to upgrade to a chair that has more ergonomic adjustments, but I personally would watch the price and go for it when it's discounted if you can, because to me, their discounted pricing falls more in line with the price that it actually should be. All right, so that'll do it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions about the C7 chair, and also let me know if you have one yourself and how you're liking it. Again, if you're interested in the C7 chair and you'd like to support the channel, I've got an affiliate link down in the description for you, and I do appreciate the support. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see that 1 month later update on the C7 chair. I will link to that in the description, and I'll pin a comment down below once that video comes out. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.